did you create a plea petition? I was looking through my documents. I didn't see any.
You sent it over to me that same day, and I'm pretty sure I got it. Didn't I get it over to you, Mr. Jones? And I thought he had signed it and we got it back to you, Your Honor.
Well, I saw the PSI request. I just didn't see the plea petition.
Give me 1 second. I'm going through my folder as we speak. I'm pretty sure that we signed one.
Okay.
Judge, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Well, look, it's neither here nor there. My understanding, the plea was he pled to this count and the state agreed not to oppose probation. Is that correct, Ms. Alcaraz?
Yes, Judge.
All right. So, Mr. Davis, if you have it, great. If not, if you and Mr. Jones would do that and get one filed, it'd be fantastic.
Yes, no problem at all, Your Honor. If you can send it over to me, I'll forward that again to Mr. Jones. I thought that we had one, but now that I looked through my file, I do not locate a plea petition, Your Honor.
All right. I will do that. I think I have a blank one in my on my computer here. I'll get one over to you today, Reggie.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet. All right. Let's go ahead and be on the record then in case number 2019-CR495, captioned State of Kansas versus Tamon Jones. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, Candace Alcaraz appears on behalf of the state.
May it please the court, Tamon Jones appears in person via video and with counsel Reginald Keith Davis.
All right. We are here set down for sentencing. Looks like back on July 14th, the parties appeared. At that time, the defendant changed. I inquired, accepted that plea, and ordered a pre-sentence investigation, setting sentencing for today. I've received a copy of that PSI. The critical findings are as follows. The sole count of conviction is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. That is a severity level 3. Non-person felony. The defendant's criminal history score was found to be G as in George. That would leave him with a presumed sentence of 51, 54, 57 months with a presumption of prison. If he has to do that time, he'll be eligible to up to 15% good time credit. Special rule number 10 applied, which was the crime was committed while he was on parole for another Kansas felony. If he has to do his time, he would be eligible for 36 months of post-release supervision. If he's granted probation today, it would be for a period of 36 months to community corrections. Ms. Alcaraz, I'll ask you first. Did you have a chance to review the PSI? Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges to those findings?
Judge, I have reviewed it. The only thing I can see is the special rule. I think the number should be 9 instead of 10 because 10 is the bond and 9 is parole.
That's
but
correct.
Other than that, I don't have any corrections or additions.
All right. Mr. Davis, same question.
Judge, I did take a look at it. I also sent it over to Mr. Jones to review. I do believe that this is a true and accurate reflection of his criminal history. I do not know or see any additions or correction other than that was mentioned by the Assistant District Attorney.
All right. So with number nine being the appropriate number, and I did notice there on the scoring of the offense that the misdemeanor box is checked. I'm sure that's just uh, uh, a click that missed its mark. So I'm going to modify the PSI to reflect that it is in fact a felony and that the special rule is number 9. Mr. Jones, your lawyer tells me that you had a chance to take a look at that criminal history worksheet and you don't have any challenges to the finding of the pre-sentence investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will adopt the findings with those changes that I mentioned of the PSI for today's hearing. Mr. Davis, you filed a motion for dispositional departure. Would you like to be heard on that today?
Yes, I would, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Judge, Mr. Jones is requesting that the court depart from the presumption of prison and grant him probation. He is remorseful for his wrongdoing. He does have full responsibility for what he did. I think that there are programs out there which Mr. Jones could enroll in to address his drug addiction. And also, I believe it's in the best interest of the community as a whole, that if he's able to reform himself through drug interdiction rather than receiving a prison sentence, that would be in the best interest of the community as a whole. And I think that by him not going to prison, that the chances of him reoffending are less likely that he would. And given all that information, Your Honor, I would just ask that you would depart and grant Mr. Jones probation. Also, also, I'd like to make mention that the state has no opposition to probation in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Alcaraz, comments on Mr. Davis's motion or anything else touching upon sentencing?
Yes, Judge. We did make the agreement to go with probation, and so the state would ask that you follow that today. In terms of the numbers in the box, we would just ask for the standard number, but of course, we'd be asking for probation, and then we'd leave the costs and fees to the court. The only outstanding cost that is not mentioned is the KBI drug testing fee. But that's the only things the state is asking for today.
All right. Were the drugs in this case actually tested?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right. Mr. Davis, anything else other than your motion as to sentencing today?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, now is your opportunity to tell me anything you want me to know in mitigation of your sentence today.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Well, I am going to follow the plea agreement, and therefore I am going to sentence Mr. Jones to a period of 54 months in the Department of Corrections. If he has to do that time, he'll be eligible for 15% good time credit and subject to 36 months of post-release supervision. His application for probation is considered and it is granted. That is a departure, and I am adopting as the substantial compelling reasons those set out in Mr. Davis's motion and his comments today. I am convinced that the things that Mr. Davis mentions makes a non-prison sanction better for society and for defendant reformation than a prison sentence would. All right. As to costs and fees, we'll get to that here in a second. Mr. Jones, here's the deal. If you wanted to have a conversation with me about how illegal marijuana and marijuana transactions should be, I would be glad to have that conversation with you or anybody else. But the problem is none of that would change the status that right now in Kansas, it's a felony offense. So here's what I guess I'm telling you. It's important, given all of this time that you've got backed up here today, that you kind of get yourself out of the marijuana business. Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation as to whether it should be as illegal as it is. But the fact is whatever we decided on that wouldn't really have any kind of application to this case, or if you had to come back and see me because you caught a new case, okay? So look, I think you're gonna do fine. I think you're gonna do well. I just need to kind of warn you off that. Maybe someday in the future, this kind of stuff's not gonna be illegal. I think that's probably the case. But for the time being, you need to make sure you stay away from it because you don't want to go do, 4 years in the pen. And I don't think you should. So I hope that you take that to heart. What do you do for a living, Mr. Jones?
I work for Ford Motor Company. I'm also a barber.
Good. Okay. Sounds like that's decent money. Hard to get clients in with this whole pandemic thing.
Yeah, it's been kind
Yeah.
of slow.
I bet. The good thing is that's a side hustle, huh? That you got a regular job too. All right.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to assess the court costs, supervision fees. Mr. Davis is retained, so there's no attorney fee. The KBI database fee, I did not think that this was Mr. Jones' first adult conviction here, right?
No, it's not.
Right. So he doesn't need to pay the DNA database fee. He should be in the database already. However, the KBI drug lab fee, how much is that these days?
400.
$400 is a mandatory assessment. So let's see, that leaves him with 400, 600, about just shy of $750. If I ordered him to pay $100 a month, that should get him done well before his probation is up. Mr. Jones, if I ordered you to pay $100 a month, do you think that's something you could do?
Yes.
Okay, that will be the court's order as to that. All right. So, Mr. Jones, you have 14 days from today to appeal anything you don't like about your sentence. You may also be able to seek expungement in the future after completing probation. As a convicted felon, it's prohibited for you to own or possess a firearm and certain kind of deadly cutting instruments like dirks, daggers, switchblades, basically knives that could be considered deadly weapons. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but suffice it to say, make sure before you decide to own or possess any kind of weapons like that, that you talk to a Mr. Davis or another good lawyer to make sure that doing so wouldn't cause you to have your probation revoked or a new charge, okay? Mr. Jones? Are
Mr.
you
Jones, you were
frozen?
muted when you answered.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Okay. You understand all that?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Ms. Alcaraz, anything that I failed to cover today?
Judge, is probation with court services or community corrections?
Community corrections. Yeah, if I didn't say that. Okay. Mr. Davis, anything else that I failed to cover today?
Nothing that the defense is aware of, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Jones, good luck to you. All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thank you. Anything else for our record today?
Judge, you can send that over to me. I get that to you ASA.
Thanks for
ASAP.
reminding me, Reggie. I almost forgot already, but I'll do it as soon as we hang up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We're adjourned.
Thank you.